Up next on the MARR Army Rock Show, a good friend of the MARR Army Rock Show, a band we've been following for such a long time. We've got John Allen of Charm City Devils with us. Their song "Skipping Stone" is our new number one tune this week. John, welcome back to the show.
Good to be back, man.
So, hey, let's kind of dive right into it. I want to say welcome back, sort of, to you and the band, because folks are going to wonder, you've been away a little while. What prompted Charm City coming back?
Well, we were working on the songs, and the song "Skipping Stone" just felt like it was more naturally a Charm City Devils song. And then, there's a fan from the area who has been battling brain cancer, and he's using one of the old Charm City Devils songs as a sort of a rallying, cry, like a pump him up before. Pumps himself up with that song before surgeries, and the song "Unstoppable," and it just kind of hit me, this guy is such a big fan, such a good dude, and he wants the best for the band and for me, career wise, and here he is, fighting for his life, and he's sending me emails and messages and hoping, wishing me well, and I wanted to wish him well, and I wanted to do a little something for him, and so I really I wanted to get back out there and play some of those songs that I felt like were just sitting there, and "Unstoppable" being one of them, and many other tunes off of the Sins record, and we had such a good time touring with that band and playing those songs. Like I just kind of was nostalgic for that as well, and it just sort of all kind of culminated into doing this EP, this 1904 EP that we're about to release.
Now, I'm going to dig into some of that in just a minute, but I do have to ask, God, you've got such a big heart for people battling cancer. I know, folks that don't know you, you've done some great things for your fans. Just like you're describing, you've really got a soft spot for people battling that, don't you?
Well, my mother battled breast cancer. My adopted mother, she survived. She beat it, and I'm adopted. So I recently found out that my birth mother actually died from breast cancer, and myself, I had skin cancer. On the side of my nose, I had squamous cell carcinoma. So yeah, I mean, it's a horrible disease, and hope anything that I can do to make things a little brighter, a little better for people battling. I'd like to do that.
Well, you guys, your whole band, man, you guys got big hearts, and you've been great about doing that for folks. We really admire that. Now, hey, the lineup's a little different, so people may want to just a rundown, like kind of the current Charm City lineup and who the new members or newer members, I guess I might say, are, and kind of how they came into the band.
Right. So, I guess I could start with Teddy Merrill on guitar. Now he toured with us back in 2014 when we were out with Slash supporting Slash all across the country, and I think he may have done some shows when we were supporting Winery Dogs. I can't remember, man. It's been a while, but so he's kind of like a new old member, I guess, if you could. Say that, but and then there's the brand new guy is Rick Reynolds on bass. He's an Aussie. We found him through a mutual friend, Jaron from Tantric.
Yeah.
He filled in for us on a Northeast run when Anthony couldn't make it, and Jaron was like, "I got this guy, who could play bass for you," and he hooked us up, and Rick came all the way from Texas to move to the East Coast to play with us. So it's been a really great thing.
A lot of talent in those two guys that you added on to the band there, and so good to see Teddy and Rick up there. Hey, so I want to start. Go ahead, sorry.
Well, we forgot Jason. He's not new.
He's assumed, right? Yeah, of course, Jason on the drums. Yeah, we assumed that right. Folks do that. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have, but so I want to start digging into the EP a little bit, starting with our current number one song, "Skipping Stone." Tell me a little bit about that tune and the meaning behind the tune, if you would.
Well, it's really, I think it's almost like a self-help song to myself, really, I guess. Just don't, even though the days are rolling through, maybe sometimes, the going gets tough, but you got to just, pick yourself up and keep going. And when things are going well, just, you try as hard as you can to keep it rolling, just keep it going on. I mean, you can make a choice. You can sit there and wallow in depression and woe is me type of attitude, or you can strap your big boy pants on and go at it.
Is that song somewhat? I don't even know the right term because I'm not a musician in the sense here. Like, is it a musically complicated song? It's kind of one of the most refined tunes I think you guys have ever let out.
It does have some moments, yeah, certainly. We've been I think the guitar parts are very intricate. There's a lot on the track, we were talking about it the other day. There's actually piano in the verse lines, just a single note, kind of single chord, kind of droning. And I don't remember now if I played it or Ted played it. We were trying to remember the other day. But so there's a lot of different things in there, and then the bridge section with the harmony guitar solos that I just absolutely love, man. I thought Teddy did some really cool stuff there, and it's got some musicality to it, I guess. Yeah.
So folks can't help but notice the subtle or not so subtle references to the year 1904 in the upcoming record, and juxtapose that with the name Charm City. I assume it has something to do with the Baltimore fire, or?
Yeah, it does. So, with all the nationwide attention that the city's gotten recently, I just felt like, the city was destroyed once before, right? And was decimated, and the city rose up from the ashes before, and that's kind of what the metaphor of 1904 is about. I identify with Baltimore. I grew up here. I love it. It's funny how you may identify with a certain area or a certain town, and growing up on the east side of Baltimore, I just always have, and I mentioned that I'm adopted before, and I think recently I started searching for my birth parents, and honestly, it's kind of funny. One of the biggest blows to me was finding out that my birth mother wasn't in fact from Baltimore, because I guess from the moment I started looking, around when I was, I guess, probably in middle school age, when I started thinking about, like, if I saw a young lady, or I'd be like, oh, maybe she could be my mother, or she could be my mother. You're always kind of questioning and wondering about that thing when you're adopted, and to find out that I was really looking in the wrong places. She wasn't here, all this time. So, that was, because I always felt like I bled Old Bay and Natty Boh, my mom and dad who raised me were blue collar people from East Baltimore, salt of the earth, wonderful, wonderful people. And that's my identity. I feel like Baltimore is a part of me. It's important, and I would love to see the city do well.
Yeah, I've spent the first 18 years of my life in Baltimore as well, and I think people that grew up were somewhat contemporaries in age, I think, and people in that amazing musical era that was the 80s and onward in Baltimore was just, it's hard to explain to people that didn't experience it, I think.
Yeah, see, there were so many great live bands, and Kicks being probably the pinnacle or the thing you shot for growing up around here. When you saw them, they just always brought it, and still continue to bring it to this day, and just great guys as well, and that was something that we all shot for. We always we all want it to be that good and that, you know, that accomplished as those guys have become. So, you know, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It was such a thriving scene for so long, you know, and it would be great if that came back as well.
Now, I wanted to ask you about the music video a little bit for Skipping Stone. You guys kind of artistically, it seems like, obscured yourselves to a little bit of a degree to stay maybe incognito or something. Is there some kind of artistic element behind that, or a message behind it, or it's just the art?
We couldn't afford to get all the lights for the video. That was no, yeah, it was a thing. The photographer, the DP, the director of photography, Jim Wrigley, he has this style he really likes. You know, he wanted to try it, and we did it a little bit on the Man of Constant Sorrow video, but this one I used more of those shots than we did in that video. So it, you know, lights out the entire room, and then just one, like, he looked like a miner. He had like a light on his head, you know, above the camera. And then he was doing what I call kind of gonzo videography, where he's kind of moving the camera around a lot and coming, you know, pushing the camera up into our faces and such. And so, yeah, it gives it kind of a creepy, almost sort of invasive, intense look, you know, when it comes in on you, and at the same time, you know, in the darker scenes, you don't know sort of what's going on and what's going to happen. So yeah, it was intentional for, you know, a lot of those reasons. I didn't use a lot of the better lit shots because I just didn't think the space looked that cool and, you know, didn't have an artistic sensibility, like you said. So yeah, it was a conscious effort really in the editing process.